My name is Lauren Camp. I'm a poet and an author. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I teach creative writing workshops for my community, especially for elders. My goal is to try to give them a space to express themselves and to honor their stories and their voices. I'm going to read you two poems. The first is Repeating Invariant Limits. My sweet, what you need to know is, at dusk, a defensive face will address a crowd, pushing into each person like an impossible bird. Even though the face says it's vultures and cursive upheavals, which split to a half line that will be replicated tomorrow in ink and sapped pixels, and though all the clabber is but a soliloquy for building a tyranny, both muster and hammer, we must keep to our minds. He'll say it as envy with his dingy vocabulary. Some will snap, my sweet, though I hope not us, while he swaggers the air in their clapping. So sudden he claimed many falsehoods as we drove past stadiums and streets dressed in his shadow. My sweet, I also don't know what to do with the Snickers. We swear, drink, and parch desmadre at borders he milks to thicken, gash in the news that pulses targets and victories from speakers. Our social media sparks its desires for the next yank and grease. For a while, we loved not to touch, since the opposite of forgetting is rage. But our bodies wept while the web scolded its fierce stretch. All this proclaiming, we undressed. We needed what happens past vexing. Soon enough our limbs found a purpose. Meanwhile, deaf to the fear we have for the future, the knobbed cat hollers every hour, useless but for the yearn to be held in the pew of a heart. Love is a menace, the size of despair. But my sweet, come with me and look. Come, bargain your breath. Count how many ifs to the drift of that sunset. This is such an awkward, strange, and tragic time with all that is going on with the pandemic, with the protests. Many changes need to happen. Many changes are happening. And it's very exciting to see the good that's coming out. The second poem I'm going to read is Tread and Root. I've been meaning to tell you how beautiful the sound of your names, euphoria and breezes, gasps and sweet. They open like carnivals, picnics, pastures, open, sometimes to the last. This week showed up with its emptying hands, and what hands will carry? A revolution, upper floors, old streets. Showed up with countless others, noon, night, any nervous hour, the haptic anger at corners. I watch shade press to the crux of buildings, tangle in cities, see it split off. How strong that roar and gaze. Broken glass. Another pledge for another who never got mercy. Days heap along, and I understand more of your consonants, those maximums, the paths your souls wore to imprint the concrete. Dear you, with those names that should have been universe, longer than doubt, should have been many shapes of an exhale. If this week is points, surfaces, debris, it was set in motion by our standing alone. In my mind, I bathe the bodies. This week is what happens at once, the hammer and mingle. The barricades, windows, then windows that board the weakened areas. Summer is falling and falling in names. Near my home, I find places to linger. Beside the vines, I stand on a flat rock with a view that shows only a trace of a roofline. I live in the desert, my own imagination. It is an hour to the collarbone of dusk. It is quiet here, save the plunge of the freeway and tender interactions with birds. The sky moves without evidence. Here, I say them, the names, what happened. Your names are an entire route. Not noise, but light. Not light, but laws. Not laws, but waking. From then on, just like that, horizon spokes clutch the sky in coordinated angles.